Countless centuries ago, a curious fae wandered into this mortal realm, sowing mischief and chaos among men, elves, and the like. When pleas did not to stop this fae, an elven king commissioned a lovely ballad to bribe the fae into returning home. The fae was quite pleased and promised to return to its own realm once each mortal kingdom presented it with a gift. Laden with dwarven spirits, gnomish machinery, orcish meats, and so forth, the fae pestered the final kingdom. The human king welcomed it with a smile and held a banquet in its honor. Afterwards, he presented his own gift, an elegant necklace of fine metalworking and exquisite jewelry. The fae was so taken by its beauty that it donned the necklace immediately, unaware that the chain was composed of an iron alloy, until it seared into its flesh and it let an agonized wail. Iron burning into its neck, the fae used its final breath to utter a curse on humanity, that any human royal to touch the necklace shall suffer its same fate, prolonged over a week's time. When the necklace could not be destroyed, the king ordered his men to lock it deep within the castle, never to be seen again. But mere decades ago, in the kingdom of Faram, one of Queen Rhodia's maidens happened upon the necklace lying about. Unaware of its origin, she immediately presented it to Queen Rhodia, who was taken by its beauty. She started wearing the necklace, and even dangled it for her infant son, Prince Selvar, to play with. Within days, the queen and prince were stricken with illness, burn marks spreading across their necks. King Kolg petitioned clerics, paladins, and planeswalkers alike for a cure, and was advised to run the yolk of a rumaraise egg over their burns. King Kolg set off immediately, and days later, after barely escaping with his life from a rumaraise den, returned with an egg, only to find his wife and son perished, their final breaths exhaled mere minutes before his arrival. Now King Kolg keeps that necklace locked in a jewelry box, never to leave his sight, for fear that it may ruin another family.
Centuries ago, a fae entered the mortal realm to pester and cause harm to others. And the kingdoms decided that they would give it treasures so that it would go away. And the final kingdom was the human kingdom, and the king decided to throw a big banquet for the fae. And the fae was very happy to see the necklace that was presented to it. So it immediately put it on, and unknowingly was made of a metal alloy that burned and seared into its skin. And as it lay dying there, it said a curse with its final breath that any royalty that would touch it would end with the same fate as the fae. But it would take a week-long process. So the king ordered the chain to be locked away deep within the fortress. But decades ago, somehow it was laying about, and a queen's maid brought it to the queen. She put it on, dangled it over her son. I guess he touched it too, and they both slowly started to die. So the king decided to get all the clerics and healers to figure out what the issue was, and they advised him to get an egg from some sort of animal. So he journeyed, found the egg, returned, and found his wife and son dead. They had died mere minutes before he arrived. So he had the necklace locked up again in hopes it doesn't happen again. The end.
Okay. The video was long, but here it goes. Something about a king, a queen, and I believe the son. What else? And I think the king left, and before the king got back, they passed away, to make it short.
Centuries ago, a fae entered the moral realm to pester a fae to acquire treasures because he wanted to make a necklace to give to the fae. And the jewelry, the necklace, was made out of a type of it had a curse, and whoever put it on or touched it, they died. And the fae used their last breath to put a curse on the necklace and made it so the way that you die lasted a week. So on any royal being or human. And there is this palace where the queen put the necklace on and dangled it over her son, and the son also touched it, and the king had to go find an egg from a special being, a creature, and by the time that he came back, he found his wife and son dead. So he ordered for the necklace to be locked up so that it wouldn't happen to any other royal people.
Centuries ago, a fae entered the moral realm to pester a fae to acquire treasures and jewels to make a necklace. Beknownst to him, or her, I don't know, there was a curse on the jewels that whoever touched them would die. And the jewel ended up in the possession of a queen. Once she put the necklace on, she was tending to her son, the young prince, and it was dangling. And thus the young prince touched it. The king was told to retrieve an egg of some sorts, but by the time he returned, he found his wife and son dead.
Centuries ago, Faye came to pester Thai to acquire jewels to make a necklace, which was cursed, and if it came in your possession, it will kill you. A queen got the jewels, and her and her son were playing with the jewels, ended up dying before the king came back.
Centuries ago, entered the moral realm to pester something to acquire jewels to make a necklace, but notice him or her, there was touched by some guy, and the troll ended up in possession of a queen when she put the necklace on. Tending to her son by a young prince, something dangling and a young plant touched it, saying, let's retrieve an egg of some sort. By the time she returned, she found his wife and son dead.
Centuries ago, in a realm that had a necklace that a guy touched and the troll touched, that the queen wore with her son that was dangling, and then he returned and they died.
A century ago, the rum and the necklace, and a queen who was touched by a guy, and the troll found an egg after finding her husband and her son dead.
Okay, I had to use a filter because I'm laying in bed, got my pajamas on. So, a century ago, there was a queen who had a crown and something about a ram or a rum, and then there was a toad and a king, and they found the son dead.
About a century ago, there was a queen that had a crown, and she had a ram or a rum, and there was also a toad and a king, and the king's son was killed.